Rise, ye ashen tarnished chosen undead, and welcome Souls fans, new and loyal, to your Elden Ring Platinum All Achievements Easy to Follow guide. This guide will get you there regardless whether you can or cannot make online saves. If you can make online saves, you're going to skip 2 extra runs because you can actually do this all in one run so long as you can save just before you commit to which ending you're going to get. So we're going to do everything needed so that you can do it with online saves. But if you are offline only and you cannot make online saves, then do not worry. I'm going to take you through journeys 2 and 3 as well so that you can then get all 3 endings the legitimate way and still get your Platinum All achievements. We are going to get total of 42 trophies / achievements. 41 are in-game and the 42nd being the Platinum. 3 endings I mentioned, 9 legendary ornaments, 6 legendary ashen remains, 7 legendary sorceries / incantations, 8 legendary talismans, and the rest are going to be for defeating different story bosses and optional bosses throughout the game. So in the interest of making this game as easy to play and beat and follow as possible, I'm playing a very specific build. I am spending my runes in a very specific way. So my recommendation is follow the build if you are less comfortable. If you want to go rogue, if you want to do your own build, you're more than welcome to level up however you wish. But I am going to go down a Spellblade build so that we have the benefits of range, the benefits of bleed, and everything in between. So that way we have the optimum setup. No matter what the boss is going to throw at us, we have a way of defeating it. Okay, onwards to new game. Settings wise, I have adjusted the volume already. Now the soundtrack to this game is incredible, but sadly you need to be able to hear my guidance, otherwise it's not a very good guide. So the volume is down. Now my recommendations: turn off motion sensor functions. You don't want to be gesturing in the middle of a fight. Brightness, to your preference. The default is actually perfectly fine. You can go up 1, it's going to ruin your visuals slightly, but that is a sacrifice you may want to do just to make some of the darker areas a bit brighter. Class setup. As I mentioned, we're going to do a Spellblade build, so that is dexterity for our physical weapons and lots of magic for our magic. So instead of Astrologer, we're going to go with Prisoner so that we have a nice starting dexterity. Body type does not matter in this game. Don't worry about gender exclusive armor types like in Demon Souls. Don't worry here, pick based on your preference, male or female. Name your character. I'm going to go with good old DBN for Drew by Nature. So you're a prisoner. Keepsake, we are going to pick the Golden Seed. This is going to allow us to immediately get an extra flask to increase our health recovery or our magic recovery. In this case, it's going to be our FP, our magic. The others do not really give... Well, none of these starting items are critical. Crackpot is nice, but we're going to get enough of those. You can get all of these items elsewise. So the key thing is Golden Seed improves your survivability, and then of course, edit your character however you wish. We're going to stick with this guy. He's seen some things. Look at him. Looks like he should be going coral. And we're ready to go. I do need to adjust a couple of settings that I didn't do when I clicked the new game. I am going to skip the cutscenes again. A shame because they are so good. If you have not seen them before, please do watch them and just soak in the wonderful lore of this game. So changes I'm going to make: show tutorials, I'm going to take that off. If you are new to the game and you don't know the mechanics or the buttons, please keep those on. Mark new items, I'm going to turn that off, otherwise it's going to drive me insane. And show recent items tab, we're going to take that off as well. I've adjusted my volume down, and I'm going to change to play offline. Shouldn't matter. One of the good things about this game is online you have to turn it on at these sites. But either way, play offline. You don't have to worry about accidentally turning on multiplayer and getting invaded and all those bad things. Right, we can finally play the game. So over here, this is a wizened finger. This is what allows you to leave notes for other players, but we're playing offline, so we're not going to be doing that. While I push the door, I know some people, and stick with your personal preference, some people like to put magic on their offhand. In this case, we're not going to be using any spell buffs to buff our weapon, so we don't need it on our offhand. And we're going to keep our main weapons on our right hand, defense and for dual wielding on our left hand. That's my preference. You are welcome to stick with yours however you like to do the buttons, but I do like to be able to have a shield up while I'm spamming magic. Onward we go to the first boss of the game, the Grafted Scion. Now, this boss is supposed to defeat you. It is very killable, but it is a slog. You are technically not supposed to win, but they've made it a hard fight that can be won. Regardless, you need to die in this area, so just do yourself a favour, save some time, just drop. We'll kill it in Journey 2 if you're doing Journey 2, but even after you defeat it, you go through where the Golden Gate was to the right, and then the land collapses beneath you. You have to die, you come here, you get your flasks. There we go. We're now going to head north, and we're going to drop. Superhero landing. And we're now in the tutorial area. Here's our first grace. No trophy for that in this game. And you'll see Flasks has this little yellow sun symbol because we can add a charge with that golden seed we picked. And that's what we're going to do. Allocate, and we're going to do 2 for health on the left and 3 for magic on the right. We're going to be replenishing our magic a lot more than our health, as since we're fighting from a distance for most of the game, we don't need to worry about getting hit so much. Now, the magic glint blade spell that we start with, you'll see in a moment, it's a spell that has a delay. So you'll see with this crossbowman, let him shoot and dodge, and then set up 2. And we're about to take advantage of this. Grab these roa fruits. I'm going to grab consumable slash combinable crafting items. I'm going to grab them as they're on the way. We don't have to go out of our way to pick them up, thankfully, but if they're in front of you, do grab those. Now, here's the advantage that I was going to talk about. So set up 2, and now have him face you, and there you go. His shield is worth nothing because our spell shoots him in the back. Now, we're not actually going to keep this for too long. However, I do think that's a really cool little mechanic. You get a spell and you get a spell. So you saw that I locked on, I cast a spell, I locked on, I cast a spell. Run, 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 run. Shank, shank. Backstab tutorial. And now we're going to crouch. This is where you'd get your stealth tutorial about crouching in tall grass or dark areas. Might as well use my last spell. I said last one because that's my FP bar exhausted, but there it is, back to full. And now this is going to look like a boss, but it's not a boss. This is a Godric soldier with a bit of extra health. And what we're going to do... There we go. Just keep in the same spot. If you move to the side, he might actually dodge some of those magic glint blades. But there you go. He drops 400 runes, which we end up with just under 600 runes, which is why we want to do that tutorial area. Get the strength gesture. Open the doors. And we are getting out of here. Touch this grace, don't rest at it. In fact, you don't even need to touch it. There's a grace that you don't need on your map. The items to the right there, those are your online items that either summon or invade other players, so we don't need those. As the man in the iron mask goes up. And we may not be a strength character, however our character is strong enough that we can open these chunky doors. And here is the beauty that is Elden Ring. I remember when I first played this, my jaw just dropped. Grab this grace.
Come to the left course on foot without
Now, I don't actually know 100% if you do need to speak to Vare here or not. What I do is I speak to him just to make sure, as there is an NPC that's kind of semi-tied to this, in my understanding, that we're going to be talking to later on. I don't think you have to, but it doesn't hurt just to exhaust Vare's dialogue. Head this way. Make sure that you do head this way towards these runes. The ruin fragments are nice, but it's not so much that, as we are avoiding the tree sentinel that you can just see in the distance behind that second tree. He's going to come into visibility any minute now. There he is, riding his horse. We are avoiding that tree sentinel. Definitely can be defeated even at this level. However, it is just not worth the effort. You don't get a massive reward for it. I was quite disappointed with that when I defeated him. Now these glowing skulls one has popped up for me to describe. When you see these, you want to make sure you smash them. You can either attack them or you can just roll through them, or in a moment when we get Torrent the horse, you can just ride over them and that will smash them. Pick up the golden rune one that they drop. So if you see a golden skull, you don't have to go miles out of your way, but if you see one within range, make sure to smash it and grab golden rune 1 as they do mount up. Now you'll notice that I'm crouching here. If you're at this post and you are stood and the tree sentinel is up at the top of the hill, you are in his visual range. You do not want him to aggro you, that will be a bad time. So just make sure you crouch when you grab that gold rune too. Touch this grace, have a rest. Over here we're going to grab this smithing stone. This is your non-legendary weapon upgrade or reinforcement material. And we're going to talk to Kale, the merchant.
I am Kale.
Purchase the crafting kit for 300 runes. And now we're going to head onward to the north, or northeast, for our next plot point. Now there are 6 Godric soldiers in this area. We're going to defeat 5 of them. That one to the right there. We're just doing this for a cheeky few extra runes. So crouch run over here. This one's next. Crouch. Grab the kukri. Now, apart from those glowing skulls, I am not going to be picking up random enemy drops. So if any of these soldiers drop, I will not pick them up. I do recommend that you should though. You can pick up some better armor earlier on. Their armor that they wear is not actually that bad. May look a bit tacky, but it definitely gets the job done better than our prisoner's tatters. The only exception to this is going to be wolves. Now, wolves always come in packs, and after defeating a pack, at least one of them, if not more, should drop some thin beast bones. I will be picking these up as these are used for crafting arrows, and there is there's 2 particular cases where we will need to use a bow. So I'm going to make sure that we can craft some arrows if or as needed. We're not going to be using it as a weapon. So there's another glowing skull. If you see one, break it and pick up the gold rune 1. So don't worry if I end up with a few more of these than you might have. My guide is designed on kind of a worst case basis, so you should be able to follow along even if you haven't picked up as many as me. If I do see quite a lot, I might just skip some of them anyway just to play it safe. So I've avoided these ruins for the moment. We will clear it out in a moment. However, first things first, we want to grab this grace and rest, and we will be introduced to Melina, our finger maiden. Yep, great choice of words, game. Have you heard of the finger maidens? Two fingers. Accept her service. And then she's also going to give us the Spectral Ste Whistle, which allows us to finally summon Torrent, our spectral horse. You would have seen him in the cutscene earlier. Now, in your start or options menu, clear your pouch, clear your gestures, and what I like to do is up on the pouch, I switch that for the Spectral Ste Whistle. So the pouch, if you hold triangle or Y on Xbox, your bottom left menu there changes to pouch, and then you can use those items. We're now going to warp back to the Church of Elleh, and we're going to meet Ranni. Now she's going to introduce herself as Renna, but that is a filthy lie. She is Ranni. She will apologise when we next see her, but importantly for now, we can call the Spectral Steed. She's going to give us the Spirit Calling Bell and our first ashes, the Lone Wolf Ashes. These are summons. You don't use the bell, you use the summon. Speak to her again, and basically she's going to say, we'll never see each other again, bye-bye. And she does this really cool fade away. Pop the wolf ashes on your pouch. Travel back to Gatefront. Okay, we are now going to clear this area. Now you'll notice this guy here who has a trumpet, make sure that he is walking away so that he doesn't witness this. Open the chest, grab the Lordsworn's greatsword. We'll sell that for 100 runes later on. So the Trumpeter enemies, they, if not obvious enough, they will blow their trumpets in the event that they see you, and that will alert every single enemy in the area that you are there. We definitely do not want that to happen. Sneak around this. We're also avoiding that enemy to the left there with the big shield and the big feathery hat. We don't want him as the Knight Captain. There we go. As the Guard Captain, we do not want to be dealing with him until we've dealt with everyone else. So I'm going to come around to here. Once I've dealt with him, I'm going to come around and I'm going to come up here. Knight Captain should not be following. Defeat that enemy from afar, as there is another one just to the right here. So this guy has a warhammer. You want to let him attack and then poke him to defeat. Grab a ruin fragment. So again, I'm not going to be picking up random floor loot, but you should, as the gold shields they drop are not bad either. Make sure the captain is not looking. We're going to dash back across where we killed this enemy. Row of fruit. In the corner here is a mushroom. We're going to let this enemy get past the wall here, and we're going to backstab this one next. Now, because it's dark, enemies have an even lower... So you can see there's actually another glowing skull over there. I won't get that one. But enemies have an even lower perception, which allows us to get to the side of enemies like this, undetected, and get a cheeky backstab. Open here for a flail. We're going to sell this for another 100. We're going to get a much better bleed weapon as part of our main build in the near future. Now that's covered that whole left flank. Keep sneaking, make sure we're not triggering that guard captain yet. Grab this herber. Wing, wing. And you'll see there's some doggos in this area. I want to make sure we take them out. Now we've cleared this part. Don't worry about the bats, but we do need to kill this guard here. The bats count as a separate mob. And what I'm going to demonstrate with this mob when we finally kill the last one, which will be the guard captain, is the open world mechanic of Elden Ring, which is when you finish defeating all enemies in a particular area, as long as you're in open world and not in dungeon mode, you will get up to 2 of each of your flasks replenished. Now if you're full, it cannot replenish. But you'll see here, so we're down to 2 and 1. Gotta wait for the guard captain. To get a little bit further away. That. Keep going, keep going. There we go. That should be enough. Nope. And now it's just the captain. I'm going to summon the doggos. And I'm just going to cast the bar. But you can see guard captain's shield. Very annoying. It has a huge amount of damage negation, both physical and magical. But the doggos get through. And there you go, that big blue explosion that happened on us, that signifies that we have cleared out all the enemies in this area, and you can see we've got our flasks back. Now we've cleared it, not only did we do it for some early runes, however, we also did it for what's in this chest here. This chest has the Whestone, which allows you to change the Ash of War, which is an ability you equip onto your weapons, and the Whestone allows us to change that, so we're not resorting to what's fixed on our weapon. Grab smouldering butterflies at any fires. Head over here, light but do not rest at this grace, that will respawn those enemies that we just took that time to kill. Instead, summon Torrent, and we're now going to head through these gates. Now, important here, do not pick up any items on this route. It's not worth it, you don't need them. That item right there is a lump of flesh, it is a trap, as we're going to sprint by pressing circle or B. That big thud is a giant that jumps down. So if you don't carry on running past and you pick up the item, the giant will squish you, and he does a lot of damage. Instead, just keep going through those barricades, pick up this golden seed, stay off the path. If you're on the path, a pack of wolves will spawn. Come up these rocks, double jump, and here we are at our next grace, STORMHILL Shack. Have a rest here. Flasks, we can add another charge and then allocate. I'm going to keep it at 2 and 4. As you can see, we use quite a lot of magic. If you are new to the game or new to the lore, talk to Melina at this grace and she will explain a bit more about what's actually going on. About Godric, about the castle, about the land, about what's going on, about the corruption. So do pay attention to that. Again, so much lore. It's a shame if you don't soak it all in. This is Rodrika. Now we don't actually need to talk to her, but we get a gesture which we don't need, and a summon that we don't need. So of course I'm going to talk to her. So you don't have to, you can skip this and save yourself 20 seconds, but there you go, the spirit jellyfish ashes. She will end up where in the round table, regardless if you speak to her or not. Either way, we can now head to the east, and then we're going to drop here. You'll see where we picked up the golden seed there, and we're just going to head in the southern direction after we drop to grab this smithing stone from here. Once you've grabbed that, head back to the east. You'll see there's a big giant to your right. Steer clear of that. Instead, go over this ruin, pick up some ruin fragments, and you'll see towards the northeast is our next destination, which is this graveyard. Anytime you see a graveyard, always have a little looty loot, as there are plenty of runes for you to collect. If it won't let you collect it from the ground, you might just have to maneuver around to pick it up from above. Now be careful, these are bombs. There you go. Oh, no, bats. Don't worry if the bats aggro to you. You can just stay on your horse and maneuver around. Bomb. Ow, thank you very much. Bomb. As you can see, I'm not really bothered by them. I'm still just doing my loot. Excuse me. Okay, I'm mildly inconvenienced by them, but I can get a heal. Make sure you've got all of those. The reason I'm not killing them is it's not guaranteed that they're going to aggro to you, and that's a few extra runes that we're not guaranteed to get. Will I get this one? Yeah, I'll get this skull. Now, head over to the northeast, and then just follow this rock until you get to a more droppable height. And from down here, those bats should no longer be causing us any bother. And then from this drop, all you're doing is you're heading over towards this next grace by this shack. This is the War Master's shack. Once you've picked up this grace here, we're going to head back to STORMHILL Shack. We do want this grace, we're going to use it as a warp point later on. And now we're going to cheekily go around the castle, and we're going to go to an area that logically you're supposed to access later on. However, the shortcut is here for a reason. So, if you didn't see, from the STORMHILL Shack, we're heading in this northern direction, and we're aiming for this part of the bridge here where this crone is. There are some bats here. Again, just ignore, just use the dash and get past them. Don't worry if you're not grabbing as much rower fruit or anything like that. Rower fruit you can use to heal Torrent while you're riding him, but you don't need to worry about it. When you use your flask while on horseback, it heals both you and Torrent. Grab this warrior cookbook. There is a scarab down there that gives you an Ash of War, which is Storm Wall. It creates a tornado in front of you, and you use that to counter arrows. However, we don't need to worry about that, so I'm not going to bother picking up. You're welcome to pick up if you wish. Yeah, I do have a full magic bar. So keep riding along this path. And eventually, here we are, you are going to get to this section here where there's a pack of wolves. Give them each a good old glint blade. There's 3 of them in this first bit. So there you go, 3 of them, 1 drops beast bones. In fact, I won't even grab from the first one, just in case, but please do, as I said, you do want those for some arrow crafting materials. Come a little bit further up and there's going to be another 4 wolves. There we are. So that was 3. There he is, number 4. And you'll know once you've defeated all of them because you'll get your flask replenish. There you go. I was literally about to say, you may be unlucky, you may get a lump of flesh. If you do, whop whop, we do not need lump of flesh. You'd rather it was the beast bones, which is the more common drop. C'est la vie, it's one of those things. But don't worry, you don't need a huge amount of them. We don't need that many arrows. So come here, touch the grace, but do not rest yet. Instead, we're going to come over here to the Church of Erith. Grab the Sacred Tear. We're going to use that in a moment to increase the amount our flasks heal us by. Come over here, talk to Thops.
Believe it or for a
Donate 10 runes.
you are a true my name, presuming you're only
And then study, and we're going to learn Glintstone Pebble. So we do not need to get all of the sorceries, we need to get all of the legendary ones. However, Glintstone Pebble is a very useful, spammable, low FP cost, oh pardon me, low FP cost sorcery. This is why I said not to rest, as we're now going to get taken to Roundtable Hold.
To determine if you have. It seems Torrent, whereas I'm there is, but I can take gathering.
Go to Roundtable Hold. Very well. Let your hand rest upon mine for a moment. And away we go. And we're actually going to get our first trophy / achievement at this point. Roundtable Hold. There it is. It's just popped for me. 1 of 42. Now you're here. Talk to Rodrika.
My name isn't this around. I never knew, although I'm still looking. It's all I'm still looking.
She's going to say she's looking for a purpose. Come over here. Creepy ninja guy. Talk to him. And you're going to get the what do you want gesture. You don't need to do that, but I always do. Don't bother with anyone else. Come over to Hewg the blacksmith.
you'll know that loud. You're
Ask him about Rodrika.
She has a sword in her eye.
He's going to say that she has a knack for spirit tuning, and he's not wrong. Come over, talk to Rodrika.
I'm still looking.
Tell her what the blacksmith said.
If I do, I suppose I'll ask. Certainly, I know I can tell.
Because, you know, they can't just talk to each other. No, we have to do all the middle ground running.
No matter.
Come back to Hewg about Rodrika. What would you watch over her? Then you're going to say it's what she wants. Talk to Rodrika again.
If I suppose I'll ask Ma.
Rest. And if you pan the camera around, Rodrika should be gone. That's what we wanted there. Flasks, increase amount replenished. Use the sacred tear. And also make sure to memorize Glintstone Pebble. So we've now got both of our sorceries memorized and ready to use. That's us done here for now. So we're going to warp. And we're going to head back to our most northern spot, the lake-facing cliffs, which is where we were when Melina took us to the round table against our wishes. Well, I say we did do the whole take my hand. Alright, summon torrents. Onward we go. I'm going to get my cerulean flask at the ready. Yeah, don't worry about collecting as many consumables. I'll let you know anything that's important to pick up. I just picked them up partly out of habit, if nothing else. Have glintstone... no, we can have glint blade for this guy, and then we'll go to pebble afterwards. So this is a higher level area, so you'll see there even 3 of them was not enough. Don't go inside. Spell spamming, always good fun. So crouch run. Thankfully you can crouch and move fast in this game. Get a backstab here. Finish him off with a pebble. Finish this guy off with pebbles. I'm going to replenish. Get my S-stock out. Come around here, get the backstab. Back away and pebble, pebble, pebble. There we go. And we're going to do the same for this final enemy here. There we go. Smash here. You can grab yourself a smouldering butterfly. And we're going to grab this cookbook. Here, the Glintstone's Craftsman Cookbook. And we've beaten them. We wanted to get the extra runes is the main reason why we want to clear that that settlement, as we're about to spend 1,800 at this merchant. Grab this Grace Liurnia Lake South. Liurnia Lake Shore. And talk to the merchant. Sell. Head to weapons, sell the Lord Sworn's Greatsword and the Flail. And then purchase, we're going to purchase the Lantern for 1,800. On the pouch, I like to put it at down, put it wherever you want, but so long as it's on your quick access, we're going to put the Lantern so we can now light up dark areas. I'm going to carry on onward. Sometimes it will take 3 depending on where you're hitting them. So there's 2 there, and then what we want is where this obelisk is there, where there's 3 enemies. we want this map piece here. That's the Liurnia East map. And then once you've collected that, for now, we're going to head over here, Agil Lake North. So yeah, these first couple of videos are going to be kind of like this. They're a bit, moving around. We're opening up our map. As you can see, we already have a nice big chunk of map here, but there's a lot more to get. We're going to be opening up the map. We're going to be picking up some key graces that we're going to be jumping around to when we've got our build finished. And then we're actually going to start on the build. Oyu there is actually that bush to the left of those goats. That is an NPC called Bok. That item is a mushroom. Bok is an optional quest line that gives us no real benefit. Excuse me. I wanted to kill you for some cheeky runs. Thank you. But I don't want to waste my magic on you. That scarab gives you an Ash of War, which you do not need. Determination. That's not going to serve any purpose for us. Now, this part here, make sure it is not nighttime. If it is nighttime, at that grace where we just were, pass the time until it is daytime. If he's not facing you, get some glint blades set up. But horse combat, safety first. There we go. And when it's safe to face him, just get the spell off there. If in doubt, if you're not comfortable with it, don't fight him. Just rest and just bop those two little groups there. That'll functionally do the same thing again for you. Grab smithing stone. Another enemy over here. The reason why you need to make sure you pass the time so it is not nighttime is at night there is a dark rider that appears on this bridge. And you don't want to fight him. It's not worth it. It's not mandatory, it's not needed. It's just going to give you a bad experience, similar to that tree sentinel. Did I replenish? Yes, I did. Okay. So take this path here towards the northeast. We're going to quickly bop these villagers. Get this last one here, so that's 4 of them, and then head over to the right. We're going to avoid that horse rider over there. Right. Checking my notes. We're now heading towards, you can see there, towards the north, there's a little shack there. That's our next destination. Yeah, why not? No, they only give 19, it wasn't even worth it. Oh well. I would say every little helps, but at that point it doesn't. So head over to the artist's shack. Grab the grace, have a rest, replenish. So there is, sadly this one doesn't actually have a trophy or achievement for it. So there are 4 of these paintings which depict a part of the map where if you find it, it's guiding you to items. Now you don't actually need to use the paintings to get those items, but it's a cool mechanic that they didn't do much with. Come out here for another smithing stone, and then we're going to head in the northern direction. You can follow the bear poop, which I'm going to pick up, gold-tinged excrement, and then don't go to the bears, instead hang a right Ignoring the turtle. No, I'll skip that one just in case I don't have too many runes and have more than you might have. Keep going and you'll see our next graveyard. So careful when you drop here, make sure you're dropping onto these rocks and that way you're not dropping too far. Even on horseback you do get allowance for a bigger fall, however you can still fall to your death. So at this graveyard, this is very important. Not only do we get to get some big chunky gold runes 6, and I think there's a 5 in this graveyard as well. I thought there was a 5 here. Maybe there's not. Oh, 4. Maybe it was a 4. 2 4s. Okay. 1 6 and 2 4s. However, we also want to make sure we pick up this Further's cookbook. This is going to allow us to craft sleep pots. Now this is very important and why we want to pick up mushrooms every now and again, as these are going to make one of the hardest boss fights a lot easier in the later part of the game. We'll pick up this one.
Someone who might be interested in rescuing the great Kenneth Height, servant to the true order and celebrated repudiator of the false.
Kenneth Height.
Oh, Erdtree, grant me succor.
Not only a big old windbag, but also has a golden seed on him. So what we're going to do, because he's currently not aggroing to us, we're going to get a backstab on him. That will get the aggro. We're then going to move back, and we're going to use magic glint blade. Now the key thing here is when you cast, enemies react, so he will roll when you cast. However, once the spells fire off, he's no longer rolling. So keep your distance. The worst thing he can do, he has a dagger which can stun lock you. But also, if you're close, he can use a miracle called Emit Force and knock you off the edge. Make sure you get the backstab. Now we can lock on and his name's Red. We're going to go full on glint spam and there we go. So if you need to, fit in an MP heal, and as I said, so long as you glint blade spam, he'll roll around, but that's not an issue because most of them are going to hit. And there's our golden seed. Might take you a couple of attempts if you are newer to the game to do that, but golden seeds early on are very important so that we can maximize our flask game. Coming down to the south, and then we're going to go southwest, and we're going to get our next grace, which you can see in front of us now. This is the Mistwood outskirts. Have a rest. Right, so we have a bit of a dangerous run here, but don't worry, we're going to make this as easy as possible. So first of all, pop a beacon on this map obelisk, so that's our ultimate goal. Line yourself up so that you're in a straight line to it, and what we need to be careful of is there are giant rune bears in the Mistwoods, so we need to be careful of them. So you can see one of them just in the distance there. There are 3 of them by this pool. One's asleep there and one's up to the right scratching that tree. So what we're going to do, we are going to dash and grab those 3 items. The main one is the one in the middle, as that is a gold rune 4. We're then going to head over, we're going to grab the map on the obelisk, and then we're going to keep going. And we're then going to collect some items by a minor Erd tree. So I'm just waiting for that rune bear to turn away. There we go. Now he's turned away. Let's go. Mash the triangle button. Oh, there you go. That's why we need to be careful. Mash triangle, grab the map. And here we go. We want to head to the minor Erd tree. Head around. Keep going, and this is what we want to pick up. Now when you get to the tree, the bears should not follow. They do not follow to the tree. So we went in a big straight line this way, and then we just kept going forward, and you get to the tree and you go round the tree, and then that's where you pick up these cerulean flasks, these wondrous physic flasks. Once you're at the tree, if you cannot map, just keep running. Keep running, and eventually, once they de-aggro, you will be able to map again. We're now going to head back to the Mistwood outskirts. And this time, follow in the northeast. We're going to keep going, and we're going to get to the third church of Marika, not to be confused with Murica. There you go, you can see the church. Now the reason we're not following the path is there's actually a giant on the path. So there he is. No, that's... where is he? There he is. So we don't want to trigger him, so that's why we're taking this northeastern route to get to the church. Once we're here, grab the flask of wondrous physic and the crimson crystal tear. Grab a sacred tear, which will increase the amounts replenished by our flasks, and rest at the grace. If you talk to Melina here, she's going to tell you about Marika. And again, if you're not familiar with the lore of the game, please do soak it all in. So we're going to increase with our sacred tear. And now we have a new option, mix wondrous physic. So really cool mechanic that they introduced in this game is the wondrous physic. So this is a flask that on each rest you get one sip of, and you can customize this to do whatever you want. So to begin with, we're going to put in the crimson tear. This heals half of our health, extra healing, and you can either put your stamina boost or spike cracked tear, which enhances charge attacks, which is what I'm going to go with. Neither of those are really that important. We are going to replace these with something much better once we get our build together. But for now, an extra heal is very good. So your flask should automatically equip as it has there. And now we're actually going to warp to the first step. So this was the first grace that we got when we got outside. How are we doing on time? Okay. I guess that's going to do for our first video. So, already a decent chunk of map exposed. This is going to get, in the next video, a lot bigger as well. And in the next video, we're going to start putting our build together. We're going to start actually doing some level ups and continuing on. But it's very important. It is a bit of a slow or a different start in Elden Ring compared to other games, where you just kind of go straight into the linear path. But putting in the time investment here to make sure we're going to get all of the upgrade materials that we need to get weapons leveled up nice and high to begin with. We're going to get a really good spell and staff that we can use for the majority of the early game. before we even have to start dealing with any of the first bosses. A big advantage of open worlding. So, that is your first video complete. In the next video, we're going to carry on. We're actually going to unlock a much later part of the game thanks to a trap, which is actually something we can take advantage of that skips us to that part of the map. And because we are using magic, we don't have to worry about how overpowered the enemies are in that section. But all that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching so far. Please do drop a like and a subscribe, especially if you made it this far into the video. It must have done something right, so I really appreciate if you can. I really can't wait to see you in the next video. Any questions, issues, pop it in the comments, and until I see you then, bye for now.